So I remember us talking about making Melbourne a friendlier place. And at the end of each workshop that we've delivered, it's just a feeling that cannot be replicated. A feeling where you're making an impact, where you're living your purpose. So that's when I learned that communication skills and people skills are not just some soft skills that might get promotion. It's essential skills to survive.
Welcome to the Simplify Success podcast. Now, if you're listening to this audio, you're most likely pretty smart. You're doing the work, but you're still confused on how to win in business at the level that you want to, how to grow your business exponentially. My name is Maarij Qureshi. I'm the CEO of Simplify Sales and the host of this podcast. Every single week, I talk to consultants, founders, experts who have turned their skills into serious income. And we're going to take these real stories, steps, and lessons and turn them into an actual step-by-step guide for you so that you can get the results that you want. So let's get right into it. All right, so I have my favorite marketer on planet Earth with me today, who is genuinely someone I always consult with for any kind of marketing advice. And the reason is that she can actually think from the customer's perspective. I think the one problem that all of us founders, business owners, like entrepreneurs really have is we're a bit too egotistical and we think that we are way too important. And the one thing that Simran always calls me out on, which makes a massive difference, is asking, what does our customer want? What do they need? And for the last 2 years, we've been running our own workshops together on how to win friends and influence people as well. The structure is very simple. You come into the room, we play a game, we teach you a lesson, you apply it then and there with a partner that you've never met, a complete stranger. And by the end of the entire workshop, you've played games, you've learned lessons, and you walk away with a few friends. The structure has worked really well, but what most people don't know is we put a lot of time and effort behind the scenes in making these things work really well. So I'm curious, from your perspective, I've never really asked this point blank, why are these workshops so important for you? Like, why do you keep investing this much time and effort when we're not charging anything? We're not really making a business out of this. Why keep doing it for you?
So I remember us talking about making Melbourne a friendlier place. And at the end of each workshop that we've delivered, yes, we've put in days and days worth of work in a workshop. We've lost sleep. Sometimes we forget to eat when we're delivering these workshops. But at the end, when we see our attendees happily chatting with other people, making friends, these introverts who didn't think they could talk to another person would end up walking with 4 or 5 friends. It's just a feeling that cannot be replicated. None of my professional accomplishments have come close to what that feeling feels like. The feeling where you're making an impact, where you're living your purpose.
Like, I love what you just said because it's so true. Like, I've done so many different things, but nothing comes close to that feeling at the end of the workshop when people come up and say thank you to us. For people who don't know, like, he just got divorced, didn't know how to communicate well. He's been around male colleagues his entire life. So he never really knew how to continue a conversation, how to start a conversation. And like, I think 2 or 3 weeks later, he comes and says, oh, I can start a conversation with absolutely anyone now. I'm talking to people at the retail store. I'm talking to people at work. I'm making so many more friends. And just like when he was about to cry saying thank you to us, like I was about to cry in front of him at that point. And it's really tough to make me cry.
And I remember Ehsan. He's
Yeah.
a professor at a university. And he told me that these 2 hours on a weekend that he attends our workshops are the most joyful moments of his week. And it was just so heartwarming to see that, yes, we're making an impact, but we're also making people smile and laugh and have a good time. And that's not something that you get in your everyday, you know.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm curious because what was the reason that you wanted to level up your communication skills? Like, what was your thing?
I was a very shy kid. I had a lonely childhood, practically no friends. And I only started learning how to make friends in university because I'd moved countries and I had no one to talk to. And after a point, calling your parents over the phone just gets boring. Like, you need to have friends around you. So that's when I learned that nobody is going to save you. I would have to learn communication skills, be more approachable, be more pleasant, so that people would come and talk to me. I waited for people to approach me, but that approach wasn't working because I was making no progress whatsoever. But when I started saying hi to some people, how are you doing? Being like, can we go for a coffee? My shout, or something like that. I started making some consistent friends. And to be honest, like, now my job interviews go pretty smoothly. I can almost land any job that I go for an interview for. But there was a time when I was being rejected, one each after the other, because I could not connect. I couldn't tell my story in a coherent way. I was boring. So that's when I learned that communication skills and people skills are not just some soft skills that might get promotion. It's essential skills to survive.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, for me, I was kind of similar background. Like, not that many friends growing up, but I was always good at sports, so that kind of helped. But when I came to Australia and got into sales, I realized, oh, wow, I need to talk to a lot more people. And I absolutely hated it. But I think the thing that most people don't understand is the reason why you hate it is not because you just innately don't like talking to people. It's generally just because you don't know the skill sets, the frameworks, the methods. Because once I learned the techniques, once I knew how to communicate, I love it. I actually love meeting random people. I can actually start a conversation with everyone anywhere, and it's just because I know what to do. I genuinely don't think it's a I like people or I hate people thing. It's whether you know how to have a good conversation or not. So for me, I think just learning this one skill has been like the master unlock in life.
You could have a conversation with a tree.
And be happy.
Yeah.
Both of us would be happy.
Tree and you.
Yeah. The tree and I would be good friends by like the 30-minute mark. Actually, I did this experiment. By the guy who was training me in sales, he actually got me to do this little experiment to put a Coca-Cola can in front of me and have a conversation for as long as I possibly can. And I literally spoke to the Coca-Cola can for, I know for a fact it was over 40 minutes. I can't remember exactly how long. Because after 40 minutes, I just got bored. But I could talk for 40 minutes to a can.
Well done.
But here's the thing. It's a skill set. It's a muscle. You have to build it. But I'm curious, now we were doing these workshops consistently. The next one is about how to network. I think this is going to be really important for a lot of people because in most places, you're told to go and meet people, or you're told to go to a school, make some friends, go to a class, make some friends, or go to a new workplace, make some friends, but no one's taught how to network. What are the few things that you would suggest anyone when it comes to trying to make more friends?
Well, first is definitely be the one to approach. Be the first one to say hi. Be the one who shakes someone's hand. Be the one who smiles first. And that in itself is an opener.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
But that's so understated. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, it's so easy to just go up to someone and just smile and be like, hey, how are you doing? I'm Simran. What's your name? Like, it's so simple. No lines needed, nothing witty needed. Like, that's enough. Just be your genuine self.
But no one does that.
Yeah, and I have a bone to pick with schools. Like, math, algebra, and everything are all fine, but we need to learn these people skills from the get-go. Anyway, that's a podcast for another day.
But then how, like, in terms of keeping a conversation alive, what would you suggest for people?
There's this really great framework that Maarij found that I still use to this day. We call it the cheat sheet. It's basically, now imagine on the left-hand side column, you've got words like best, worst, first, last, and weirdest. And on the right-hand side column, you can put any category like book, movie, travel, work, personal relationship, anything. So, and you can mix and match any of those categories and bring out stories from the other person. Like, for example, if we're talking about work and about how my work's going, or what do I do for work?
For example, yeah, what do you do for work? Absolutely. I think this cheat sheet has become like a thing that we try to teach everywhere
Yeah.
because it really is a cheat sheet. All you need to remember is first, last, best, worst, and weirdest. And then just insert any kind of topic. What was the first job? What was the last job? What was the best job? What was the weirdest job? No, what was the last job? What was the worst job? Yeah, I think I got the order wrong, but you get the gist. Like, if you're talking about food, what was the last thing that you ate? What was the first thing that you ate today? What was the best thing that you ate in a while? What was the worst thing that you've ate in a while? And what's the weirdest thing that you've eaten in a while? You ate a frog? Why? Okay, let's exactly. So like the goal of the cheat sheet is to get into stories, because once you get the other person to share a story, they're always just going to ask you a question back, and then you get to share your story, and through stories you really build that connection, that friendship. I get the feeling, for me, I think the one networking hack has always been figuring out how to communicate what you do in a way that gets the other person excited, but also it clearly articulates what you do and what like problem you solve. Because most people, when they just explain that what they do through a title, it's very short, there's no context, it's not fun, it's not memorable, they're going to be easily forgotten. And the other thing most people do is they go into this long ass, long explanation of everything that they do, and they overcomplicate it, and it's just not, like, it's confusing as hell. So it has to be that middle sweet spot of it's easy to say, but also easy to understand. So I think I just like this framework of I help these kind of people get these kind of results. I'm a marketer and I help people in agencies get great results, or I'm a salesperson for non-for-profits, or like being a little bit more specific on who you are, what problem you solve, and who you help, and just crafting that sentence, because you're going to meet people your entire life. You might as well put in time to figure out the answer to the one question everyone's going to ask you. What do you do? So you need to make sure that that one sentence, that one answer is really fucking good. But it can't be too short and it can't be too long. That's where the juice is. So, and there's no real right answer, but just spend some time crafting that answer. So for the next workshop, what are you most excited about? Like, what are you looking forward to? That's our normal. You're such a words of affirmation person.
Oh, fully.
I get the feeling, for me, I think it's the moment in the workshops when we're sharing something and I can see the glimmer in people's eyes when it clicks. That the lesson, like they understood the lesson, because they always either take out their phone or take out their notepad and write something. And there's this moment of, oh, okay, shit, this is how I do this. So I love those little moments when we share something and it just clicks for them. I think, and that's the reason why I think for us to spend that much time building the workshop and then scrapping it and then building it again and scrapping it, all that effort is to try to simplify the message so much that we get a lot of those moments throughout the entire thing.
Oh.
And plus, like, we play the games, we have so much fun, you get to make some friends, we give you the tools to make friends. And I think someone said this about our workshops, which was really cool, that we force people to make friends, which actually makes them implement whatever we said in the workshop. So there's no question, or they're not clueless afterwards, because they actually got to apply it then and there. So I think the no strings, there's no net, there's no safety net. I just love the whole experience. So really looking forward to this Saturday. But for anyone who's listening to this podcast like years later, we're probably still doing this. So reach out, because we love this way too much to give it up. Even though it really doesn't bring in any income or anything, we just genuinely love doing this and giving back to people. And yet, maybe might monetize it later. So if you're listening to this before we've monetized it, you got the best deal on planet Earth. But later on, we'll probably just charge a shit ton of money for this. But yeah, either way. Anything you want to say before we wrap up? Amen. Okay, I think that was good.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you want more details about the speaker, on the website there's going to be a lot more details about where you can connect with them, what they're doing, and everything in detail. So check out the website. But like always, it doesn't matter what kind of information was shared today, unless you apply it into your life today, it's not going to matter. You're going to forget about it tomorrow. So always keep things simple, apply what you learned, and make sure you absolutely dominate this week. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.